Alright, so it is April 2024. Making some ramp pickles. They're still kind of warm. It takes about 2 weeks for them to macerate in the refrigerator. I'm using a recipe here from a chefskitchen.com. Here are some of the ramp leaves for color. The bulbs and the leaves are all edible. I don't like harvesting the bulbs because they take a long time to, regrow themselves. But if you find a good patch of ramps, you can just kind of harvest, every other leaf or so or something like that, because they usually grow in 2 or 3 formations, and leave it so it can grow and propagate itself in a decent patch. This year it seems like it's where we're harvesting these ramps, they're up there. We might have one more weekend to get some ramps. I may do this again, but like I said, I'm reticent about picking the bulbs. But this time I wanted to try this recipe, and I'm gonna show you how it turned out. Actually, before it actually sits and macerates, the recipe itself does taste pretty good. So let's get ready to do that. Okay, so it is officially spring 2024, and it's ramp season here in Zone 4, Upper Midwest, which is approximately mid to late April through early May. And I have some ramps that I harvested. Normally what we do is we will harvest just the leafy part, right? Because they take such a long time to they take about 7 years for the plant to mature and then flower and then reseed itself. Okay, so when you find a patch of wild ramps or wild leeks, it's important to harvest sustainably and carefully and responsibly. Just don't dig up all of the bulbs, because then you will lose your patch. Okay, so really we just grab just the 1 or 2 leaves of a particular patch, every other leaf or so. And if you find a decent healthy patch, you'll have plenty of leaves to be able to use. But this time around, what I'm going to try to do is I want to try to pickle some of the bulbs here. But first I gotta wash and clean them off, run them under some water. I'm going to cut the roots off here, so we actually have a very small, kind of like green onion looking shape here. And then we're going to set the leaves aside for making pesto and some other things like that. So again, it's just important, if you find a wild patch of wild leeks, again, you can certainly use the leaves. The leaves are tasty and they're pungent, especially at the earlier stages, and you help keep the wild patch growing because it takes so long to propagate themselves. Okay, so once these are washed off, just under some running water here, all we want to do is just kind of get rid of the beard or the tendrils, the roots here. Just cutting them off like that. I'm just discard these here, and then just at the leaf line where it's slightly a little purplish here, that's about where we want to kind of cut these. So take this one here and get that right about there, and I'm going to set this aside. Put these over here, put the leaves over here. We'll put the leaves in a separate bag, and then put the ramps on the plate here. The bulbs, excuse me, put the bulbs on the plate. I'm following a recipe off of chefskitchen.com. The link will be below. And I have, 0.5 pounds of ramps. And again, this is an approximation. Again, I'll show you the link below. I have 1 cup of white vinegar. I have 3/4 cup of water. I have 3/4 cup of sugar. I have, a third of a cup of, this is the sugar. This is a 1/4 cup of sugar. And then I have a third of a cup of salt. 1.5 bay leaves here. So just dried bay leaves. And I'm lucky enough that we have the spices that we do in the house, which is great. Then I have yellow or brown mustard seeds, and that would be 5.5 tablespoons. This is approximately half of a tablespoon right here. And then I've got 3 whole spice berries. Now, all we had was ground up allspice, and that's fine. So I'm just doing approximation. Again, these are approximate numbers, so this is about what I'm going to use for this. And then lastly, you know, a half a tablespoon of crushed red peppers. So I'm going to use these crushed red peppers, and essentially I need to dissolve all of this in water over heat, put the ramps in a jar, pour the brine or this heated mixture of the spices on top of the bulbs, and then let it sit for, you know, 1 or 2 weeks in the refrigerator before consuming. So we'll see if we can follow that. Alright, I'm letting the stove heat up, so I'm going to take the bay leaves and just set them in the jar here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the mustard seeds. Put those in there. Because it's going to be hot when I put everything in here, so it'll kind of do its own cooking. Right? I'm going to go ahead and take the red pepper flakes, put those in there. And I am going to leave the allspice out and combine it with the rest of the ingredients. Except for now, I'm going to take the washed and cleaned bulbs of ramps and go ahead and place them in here. Be nice if they all went one direction, but it's okay if they're topsy-turvy. So we've added all our ingredients, including the allspice here, and we're just going to let it dissolve down. It's the wet ingredients, the water, the white vinegar, the salt, the sugar, the allspice, and we're just going to let it melt, you know, blend together until the sugar and the salt has dissolved. I've already added the bay leaves and the mustard seed and the cayenne pepper flakes into our jar here. I could probably pack it fuller maybe. Okay, so it looks like we have things dissolved and boiled down, basically making a brine, and this will kind of cook slash, you know, partially pickle. It's that vinegar that'll get you. Oh, this will be tasty. This will be real tasty. It's my first time making it, so I'll make sure that we don't have any spills. So we're going to make sure we don't have these spills. I'm going to put this stainless steel bowl so that I can kind of pour this onto our mix like this. We'll let it settle, and then we'll probably pour the rest of this. And then I have the cover to the jar here, and for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, we'll just let this sit in the refrigerator. It's hot, and let this steep and do what it does, pickle essentially.